Welcome to the MTR Network. I am Shanna, and I am joined by The Doctor.
Hello.
And our special guest, joining us all the way from the United Kingdom, we have Ejiro.
Hello, doing the royal wave. Hello.
Ejiro is a friend of the show and just a friend in general. And we are all here, three Black women, to talk about some stuff that has come out recently, some stuff dropping on Netflix. We're going to talk a little bit also about Supergirl and all the stuff that I learned at San Diego Comic-Con. And this is just a special episode of Super Tuesday Recap. So first thing we're going to talk about is The Incredible Jessica James, which just dropped on Netflix. So, Ejiro, I know you are covering this for Project Fandom, which you recently started writing for.
Yes, and I'm doing an or not on it, so I'll be all very honest and opinionated. But I loved it, I have to say. I really enjoyed it.
And how do you feel about Incredible Jessica James, Doctor?
I see what you did there. I liked it. I would watch it again. It was very enjoyable. Jessica Williams is her last name in real life, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've never seen her stand up. I saw
Mm-hmm.
her on the Daily Show before I stopped watching that. And I liked her and, her timing. But this was it was nice because it wasn't formulaic.
For those of you who haven't seen or heard of this is a new Netflix movie. They've been doing original movies as well as original series. And this one is starring Jessica Williams, who I don't believe, is she still on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, or has she left it officially?
I thought she left a little bit after he started.
Yeah, I think she left.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's no longer on The Daily Show, but formerly of The Daily Show fame. And that's kind of how people got to know her. Now she has a podcast called Two Dope Queens, which is a podcast, but it's kind of not a podcast. I don't know if either of you have ever listened to it, but it's more a live recording of a comedy night that she hosts. So they'll kind of do her and her co-host, Phoebe Robinson, I believe her name is. Yeah. They'll do little interstitials in between. And then it's just pretty much that comedian set that they recorded live. So it's a comedy podcast. It's pretty funny. I enjoy it. I don't always listen to it regularly, but whenever I do, I laugh a lot.
Okay, I've heard so much about it.
This movie is her first. It's not her first film. No, this is not her first film. This would be her second film. The first film that I saw her in was with Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. I can't remember the title right now, but she plays his student in that film, and then he ends up dating Regina Hall, who plays her mom.
I cannot believe Regina is old enough to be Jessica's mom.
She's really not. She's really not. And I remember side-eyeing that film. It was cute, but it was just because of that I felt that the age differences were not appropriate. But, that was just my thought on it.
Hold on. How old is Jessica Williams?
She's 28, 29.
So Regina Hall could technically be her mom if she would have been a teen mom.
So we're going to go with no.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Well, I think when they did that movie, Jessica was maybe 25 or 26. And Regina Hall is, what, 48 now?
She's 46. Like she's 46.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's 46. Wow. Girl, melanin. It's that melanin.
After I saw Girls Trip, I looked up everybody's ages. I was like, hold up. How old are these ladies exactly? Because everybody looks a smooth 32, but everybody in that movie is at least 45. Except for Tiffany Haddish. I think Tiffany might still be in her late 30s.
Yeah, she's in her late 30s.
Okay. 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 I can see it perhaps. So if she was 19 and she had her, but yeah, I. That's fine. They're just so young looking and gorgeous and all that melanin. So, okay.
That is the only other thing I've ever seen Jessica Williams act in where she's not herself, essentially. This movie is a rom com. It's for all of our rom com lovers out there who are looking for rom coms with black female leads, which is just refreshing to see. I know that we get them a lot, but they tend to be quote unquote black movies.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this is a very multiracial cast.
Hmm.
So it also stars Chris O'Dowd, who you guys might know from Bridesmaids, other rom com that stars white women. Chris O'Dowd has been in a lot, and also I who's the girl who plays her best friend?
Oh, I
Because
don't.
she looked hecka familiar.
Noelle Weeks. Oh, no, Noelle Wells. That's it. Noelle Wells. I've seen her on Saturday Night Live. I think that's
You know
right.
who I think she is?
Mhm.
Okay, is she also Aziz Ansari's girlfriend in the first season of Master of None?
That's it. That's it. Yes.
Okay, I was. She looks
Yeah.
super familiar.
Yeah, she plays Rachel.
And then the other person that we gotta talk about being in this.
The Keys. Is that?
Okay, so yes, the person that we have to talk about is Lakeith Stanfield, who
Mm.
keeps a check.
Oh, that brother
Oh,
works.
okay. So here's the thing. Y'all can take my black card if you like. I understand, but I don't know who he is. I can't. No, I hear his name and I see that Phenom took a lot of pictures of him at San Diego Comic Con. I don't know who is he.
He's from Atlanta.
I
Do you
didn't
watch Atlanta?
know, and that's why I don't know him. I didn't watch Atlanta.
That's okay.
I watched
That's
the
Oh my
first
okay.
God.
episode of
So
it.
even
No, no, no. I
even if
watched the
you're not
first.
talking about Atlanta,
I watched the first episode of Atlanta, and it just wasn't for me. I never went back to it.
It's okay.
I'll
It's
pack my
okay.
bags. I understand.
okay,
No, no, we'll keep you. We'll keep you.
Atlanta's amazing.
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
yeah, Atlanta's amazing. But even if you haven't seen Atlanta, he has been in everything this year that has come out. He has been in Get Out. He has
Yes.
been in. He's going to be in Death Note, which is why he was at San Diego. He is in this new film with Boots Riley and Tessa Thompson. He is in what else? I mean, like at this point, it's like what hasn't Lakeith been in this
Hmm.
year?
So basically, he's Chadwick Boseman
He's
part
all
two.
over the place. He's constantly
He's the new
yeah,
chat.
but like Chadwick is holding down the biopics. If there's a real life historical figure that you need Chadwick Boseman to play, he
Yeah,
is there.
that's what
Lakeith
it's
is
on.
holding down all these kind of like indie acting jobs. He's also in War Machine, that movie that dropped on Netflix with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
He is also in, I mean, just everything. He was in Snowden. He was in Miles Ahead, the Miles Davis movie that Don Cheadle did.
Yes, I
He was
remember.
in Straight Outta Compton. He played Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton. He was in Selma. He was the kid that got killed that kind of started the big demonstrations.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just been in a million things.
Okay.
You're right. He keeps a check.
Like I
He
said, he
really
keeps a
does.
check, which is good because he has a baby on the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Wait, is that with the girl from the new girl? Or no, 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 no. Mindy Project. That's it. Zosha.
Oh, I like her.
Yes. Me too. She's
From
cute.
the mini show, yeah. Sasha Rockmore. I
Sasha.
mean, although they are also messy as heck because they were on Twitter having beef, and I was like,
Oh,
this is
I
real
tried to
messy, you
ignore that.
guys. Don't put your business out on these Twitter streets.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Don't put
Yes.
your relationship in these Twitter streets. Shoot, folks don't know how to act.
That's okay though. I overlooked that because I like them. I said, I'll look away. I'll look away. Yes.
Cover your eyes.
I also really enjoyed this film. I guess we can go through it kind of I don't know if we want to do scene by scene, but kind of just break down what the basic story is. Um, Jessica Williams plays this girl, Jessica James, who is about 25. She is a theater teacher and a cater waiter and pretty much just doing what she can to make money while she pursues her dream of writing plays. She wants to be a playwright. And she has just broken up with Lakeith's character, who is she thinks she might have been in love with, and she's trying to rebound. But for somebody who kind of is unsure about where her life is, she also has an incredibly inflated self esteem that is just admirable.
Girl, yes. I'm like, how can I be down?
She had little self-doubt, which I really
I
liked.
was I was so surprised when she says that one line where she says where he's like, I like you, and she's like, of course you do because I'm freaking dope. I was
And walks
like,
away.
I was like, pretty much she's she is not modest at all.
Hey, if you know, you know, right?
Kind of highlights, what did you guys like about the story and how it was told? I'll start with you, Ejiro.
Well, first of all, I like the music. That was the thing that really struck me from the beginning. But the story, of course, you have the boy meets girl bit, and boy and girl are trying to get over lost love. But it wasn't hokey. It felt as if there was a bit of originality towards it. That this is a fresh take on something that we all go through, that we all know, and that she felt really independent of the Chris O'Dowd character. She just felt like, I'm good in myself. I'm going to enjoy what we have, but going to go around and, do me. And I really like that. And that kind of had that thing that everybody says millennials have, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good approach in this sense to have that confidence. And I really like that. That was fresh.
What about you, Doctor?
I agree. It wasn't tropey, which was great. I think the biggest thing was, a lot of these rom coms, the woman is artificially self assured, but deep down she's harboring all these insecurities about her love life. What I liked about this was she was deep down very secure about herself. The
Hmm.
insecurities and the uncertainty was actually about her professional life, which was, I'm like, that's great. That's perfect. Yes, that's what, because, and going back to what Ejiro said, I like the fact that these didn't feel like artificial people. They felt like people who had experienced a breakup and were going through the normal cycles that come with that breakup, including the normal hangups. There wasn't like we're flying off into the sunset together. It was like, hey, if you really want to help me out, I could use your help getting some folks overseas. And he did it. And I'm like, it was just a refreshing approach so that, and it just felt real. I appreciated how real it felt. These felt like real people, real relatable people.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love the little girl.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about it, but she was my
Yeah,
favorite character. Yeah.
for me, it was a little too real. It took
Mm.
me back about 10 years ago when I was teaching theater to middle school and high school students. And probably not as, I definitely wasn't like dating and as confident as Jessica was, but I definitely, I was out there. I really enjoyed also the stuff in her head
Hmm.
Oh
because
my
I'm
god.
a person who daydreams a lot.
I'm sorry.
So I really enjoyed the stuff that was going on in her head. It took me a minute. I was thinking all of these scenes where she was confronting him were actually happening. And then I think it was the one when the piano fell on him. I was like, oh, this is all in her head.
Honestly, I gasped because I thought that was real. I was like, did they really just drop a piano on this man's head in this movie? What is happening? Sorry, the time of it was so cartoonish. I was just like, oh my god, this movie is ridiculous, but I love it.
She's just when she gave Chris O'Dowd's character all of her plays to read, and he was just like, there's a lot of stuff going on in your head. I was like, yeah, I get that. I understand. There's a lot happening in her head that nobody knows about.
Okay, so that first date, I don't know, but I want to go on a date just so I can do that to somebody. Just like let's just be honest and see where it takes you. But the fact that on the walk home, they're just randomly talking about general stuff, and then he just throws out there, "Oh, and I'm really good at cunnilingus." I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, is that what they do? What are you doing? Is that what they do on the dating streets? Because I haven't dated in a minute. Like, it just seems so random."
Well, I have, and no and yes. No and yes is my answer for that. No and yes. But that was funny because I didn't think they had any chemistry, but then they ended up in bed, and I thought, well, did I miss something? Because I just didn't think they had, anything that would lead to that. But I guess she had the offer, and she thought, why not? But
And
I don't know.
that's how it came across to me too. Not so much that she was so incredibly attracted to him, but
Sometimes
just
you just
that
need the pipes cleaned out.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. She just she and it seemed like a way for her to forget him, Lakeith's character,
Yeah.
to stop thinking about him. It was a distraction.
That she grew to like him, and that's very realistic. That sometimes you don't have that initial attraction, but obviously if the sex is good, but even more so that they spent more time together, that it wasn't this instant romantic, like, oh, I must fall in love with this man sort of thing. It was a gradual attraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying that he's good at cunnilingus, and he said that, and I think that just resonated with her.
Probably.
Who wouldn't that resonate with? Let's be
Let's talk about the little girl,
Okay.
Sharonda.
Oh, Chandra, she was perfection. That that's what I mean. These characters are real.
Yeah.
They just feel like people that you would talk to in your daily life. And she was smart, but it wasn't like one of these children's characters that are overly smart and they're just too witty. She was just that right amount of smart that you're like, yeah, I know a child like that. I definitely do. But still that child, like, I want to go to Six Flags part of her.
Yeah. I was a little pissed at Jessica for how she approached her at first. Like, well, you're just being selfish. I'm like, she is a child who wants to spend time
Right.
with her father. Will you calm down?
Yeah,
Just because
that's
just because he was tripping and making out with his ex-wife don't mean you get to take it out on his baby.
exactly.
So yeah, I like the little girl.
Yeah, I really
I
liked
did like
her.
her. I liked that the families were dynamic. I loved the children. I loved her interaction with the children. I felt like that was really well. The way they handled that was really well done. Um, I just like that the movie made her seem like a complete person. It wasn't just like, oh, I gotta find love because I don't have anybody anymore. Which is what, if we're honest, that's what a lot of rom coms do.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know we'll talk about that part later, but the interesting thing is that with her family, you could tell that they were proud of her. They didn't understand her. She kind of conformed when it came to, it's not talking about that whole theater scene, and she was discussing it with the lady.
Mm-hmm.
Who's like, "What do I see in New York?" And she talked about the state of theater and how bad it is in her mind and how things have changed. And then she's like, "Okay, you can always go see Cats." So there was a part of her that you could tell, like most people, you're evolving, you're changing. There's some elements that your family gets of you, and other parts they just won't get anymore. And
Right.
I like that part of her as well.
And then sometimes you have to set that aside just to keep the peace
Yes,
when you're alone.
exactly.
I really liked her younger sister as well.
Oh, she was so pretty. Oh my god.
Yeah, I thought that was it was just good casting, and then also again, hitting too close to home, I wonder sometimes if that's how like I'm kind of perceived by my family
Hmm.
as the one who like moved far away, and I feel like they understand my life, but they don't understand my life because I'm not married or dating anybody seriously or planning to have kids anytime soon. Not that I don't want those things, but like they're not at the forefront of the things I'm going after. And the rest of my family has all that happening.
Yeah, that book she gave her. Oh my God. I looked at that picture. I'm like, is it wearing a strap on? She drew the baby a strap on character. Oh my God.
That is how my family sees me, and I'm not even that. I'm not even that extra. But they're like, Shanna's the funky activist, the funky crunchy activist. That's what they think. Just because I'm like, I will not stand for your sexism and homophobia.
Hey, you gotta draw that line somewhere.
Better to teach the babies. Teach them
Hmm.
early.
I would just say though, the strap on may have been a bridge too far. It's
My favorite part of that whole scene was when her sister is looking through the book and she's like, it's never too early. And the girl sitting next to her sister is like, too early for what? And she's like, to break down the system, and she's like, what system?
I'm not
Like,
in a
I'm
system.
not a part of the system.
just so sweet and oblivious.
You just pretended to eat poop out of a diaper. Of course, you're a part of the system.
Which, before she even said anything about it, my note was that fake eating poop shit is for the birds.
That
Yeah.
fake eating poop shit is for TV. I don't know of anybody. Well, maybe it's just my circle I run with, but did none of us pretend while changing a child to eat poop out of nobody's damn diaper because we didn't want the kid pretending to do that mess or actually doing that mess. What are you doing?
It's one of those stupid baby shower games, and
I
I
I've
I throw
hate
baby
never,
showers. We don't do
girl,
that. No.
I've never been to a baby shower where they do that
Mm-mm.
ever.
Where they
I
do
have
that at?
I have thrown exactly one baby shower. It was for my friend Kate, and our theme. Kate loves books. Our theme was all about children's books, and we had a cheese table that had fairy tale, like the Three Blind Mice, and we did like different little stations, and then everybody brought like books for her unborn kid. It was simple. It was very much so childlike, but it was also very much so sophisticated. We were not playing these games. these, I think we did a guess the baby name game. That was it. It was like this. I refuse. I hate baby shower games. Baby shower games are so dumb.
Yeah.
They really are.
Well, having thrown a few, I will say, as long as the games, well, I like the crosswords. We do the crossword ones and
Mm.
names and things, but I draw the line at chocolate poo and any of that nonsense. So
Yeah, that's some yeah, that's trash.
that
Yeah.
was
That's
not,
trash.
I was
Or
with Jessica. Nope.
even I could maybe do. I don't mind the one that's similar to Pin the Tail on the Donkey, but you're doing like diapers on like a fake baby.
Mm,
That one's not bad.
That's cute. That's cute. But no more. No,
mm.
no,
Yeah.
no eating of feces.
No.
No, thank you.
And I'll do a relay race one if it's a mixed gender baby shower, because I feel like if you're gonna have guys and girls, then you need something a little bit more physical. The dudes like that,
Mhm.
Hmm.
but that's about it.
Yeah. No, no, no. Anything that's a bridge too far. Feces is the bridge we don't cross. No.
No, no.
Nope.
Okay, I know you guys talked about the little girl already, right?
Yes, but we can always talk about her more. She's just wonderful.
I just my favorite thing that I thought was so adorable was the play that she wrote at the end, which was clearly based on
Yes.
Jessica's story, but the character's name was Banana McLean instead of Jessica James.
Yeah.
I got really just I was like, good job, kid. Done good, Banana McLean. I again have done this with my kids before, where we develop something. I had them actually do as a class develop a short play. It was a one act play,
Mm-hmm.
and we did like a musical. So, and I've had that moment of standing in the wings while they do their little show and everything. Yeah, that's a great feeling. It really is.
That has to be beautiful.
Let's talk about the ending.
Hmm.
How did you guys like the ending?
I like that it wasn't traditional rom com fare where she's going to London. She's not going to put her life aside. He's not going to uproot. Even though it ended with him sending two people with his frequent flyer miles, it wasn't like, I'm just going to uproot and follow you, because that would be creepy. They've only known each other for what, 30 minutes? But I like that she didn't, set everything aside because I found true love. Who cares about my dreams? I have true love, which is, if we're honest, the way a lot of those movies end.
They do. They do.
It definitely felt like something where you could see them having a relationship beyond this,
Mm-hmm.
and not just, because often in rom-coms you're like, oh, I just imagine that they live happily ever after. But in this one, I was like, oh, I could see him coming to visit her while she's in London, or him waiting until she gets back, and then maybe they start dating. Maybe they don't, but I could still see them remaining friends,
Yes.
which I
Yeah.
really liked.
Yeah. And the thing is, you see Tasha, her friend, and Jessica, and you start to wonder, okay, who's in the middle seat here? And you're thinking, could it be him? But this doesn't feel like that kind of film. And then the little girl Chandra comes, and you're like, oh, this is
She
great.
took the
This is
baby.
wonderful.
Although that was some real generous stuff. I'm like,
Look, look.
a class trip
I
is
was
one
like, or we
thing.
could have upgraded these two tickets to first class. I did think that.
Look, all I know is
Ditch the
this.
child.
There's maybe one person that I would send my child along with, but I've known her for 5 years, and her son, and my son are friends. But I'm not just putting my child on the plane with you, and I
That's
don't
true.
know you. She don't
That's
really
true.
know that woman.
That's true. I guess her voice note to the girl's father to entreat him, to beg him for her to come to the weekend, made the family think, okay, this child is crazy, but we can entrust our baby with her. So perhaps that was it.
Mm.
I know, right? Yeah.
We saw Sharonda's father, but he never spoke.
Did we?
Never.
I don't.
Right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He was
I
just in the
remember
audience.
there was, yeah, I remember there being a man in the audience that I assumed was her dad. And I was just kind of like, well, how come he don't get no speaking lines though? Like, what he do? Whose bad side did he get on? And he can't talk.
No, no, no.
Oh, and when she told that baby she would be really disappointed in her if she chose to go to Six Flags, I was like, if you don't leave that baby alone.
I know that was wrong. She was wrong for that.
There was no place for that, which she began to understand. I mean, a child is a child. If I, at that age, had a choice, it would have been a very hard choice. In fact, I think she would have chosen the weekend if Jessica hadn't applied so much pressure on her.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm just trying to see. So, no.
And I'm spiteful, so I understood her choice. I'd have been
Oh,
like, hey, who she think she telling that guy missed Six Flags?
like, I see you once a week. This is my father, lady. What's wrong with you?
Right, right.
Doing the most. And then I also really liked the best friend. I thought she was so cute, and I liked how honored she was to be in Jessica's student's place.
That was that was adorable.
She's like, "Thank you so much for casting me. I really identify with this character."
Did I do too much? Was I okay?
You're doing too much right now, actually.
Please.
I'm somebody who's constantly asking my friends to do stuff for the kids that I work with. So I just really appreciate how honored she was. Because usually I'm like begging my friends. I'm like, so I'll take you out for dinner if you could please do this one favor for me.
He's like, I'll do it for free. No problem. No problem.
I got you.
But wasn't she the one who introduced her? Well, she told her to go out with,
I thought she set them up.
right, but
Mhm.
she then said she didn't really know him. I was like, what?
Like, you might have sent me out with an axe murderer kind of friend to
Right.
you.
With what's his name? Okay, so Crystal Dow's character is Boone. So then she's like, yeah, I just met him at some, weekend. I don't really know him. I'm like, what? What kind of friend is that?
I also liked how her friend, because her friend was lesbian, right? How her friend
Yeah.
was lightweight in love with her,
Yeah.
but like not in a way that was creepy. She was just like, "Look, if you want to try, ladies, I'm here. I'm available. If you want me to be your first."
Jessica's like, no, I'll just stick with the basic peen. But thank you for the offer. It was really like, just a nice conversation.
I also liked how every single time Boone called her, she goes, "Who are you again?" Sorry, what's your name?
I don't quite remember. I don't know him. I don't know him.
I
That's what
don't
she
know
said.
her.
Oh, Jessica Williams. Jessica Williams is the best. I'm sorry. She just is. And Lakeith, just to go back to him very quickly, he is somehow always himself in everything I've seen him in, and then also completely that character.
Mm.
Okay. I didn't know who he was, so don't be mad
Because
at me. Don't be mad at me.
I,
I need him to eat something. Them little legs.
he's a little skinny
Oh
something,
my god.
but
He was
I
on the
don't
side
know.
of wait, he was on the side of her building. I'm like, oh baby, I'm afraid that you gonna snap in two. What's happening?
I'm trying to think of what other than Atlanta. Atlanta to me feels like probably the character that is most close to who he actually is.
hmm
Mm.
Um, that Darius, like that feels like him. Having met him once, wink, wink.
Cause
Not
she
to
know people,
brag,
she's
to
as
boast.
Rod refers to them, she's the famies amongst us non-famies. So.
That's we wouldn't
We
understand.
don't know that life.
But no, yeah, that seems like the closest to who he is. Because when I stopped him on the streets,
Oh my god.
he just had that kind of like absent-minded Dariousness, but also very aware of what's happening around him. Um, and then in this one, he was kind of smooth. Like he was smooth, but a little aloof, and you could see why Jessica kind of fell for him.
Yeah.
Because she would need a guy who was very interested in things, but aloof enough to not for her to feel like she had to chase him a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yes, I agree. But this is what I didn't understand. So in the last daydream, it makes it seem like she's the one who dumped him. But in reality, when they meet at the end at her event, it still also feels like she might have been the one that dumped him because she's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's okay. Something is to say, I'm okay. So I still think
Yeah.
she's the one who dumped him.
Well, I thought that got confirmed towards the end that she is absolutely the one who broke it off.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Which is a new
I
dynamic, I think.
I wonder if she broke it off, or if she, because these are the games that people play in their 20s.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
she kind of pulled away to see if he would chase,
I think
and
so.
then he showed up, and then he started dating other people.
It's like that wasn't in the
Yeah.
plan.
The games you play in your 20s.
Exactly.
Yes.
I could see that, which is probably another reason why I didn't date a lot in my 20s, because I just don't do games. So I was
It's
like, I don't have
exhausting.
time
It's
for this. Yeah, I don't have time for this. Wait 3 days and then do it. I call him and then he's being I don't have time.
mm-mm,
Like if I want
mm-mm.
to talk to you, I'm gonna call you and talk to you. If you got time, cool. If
Exactly.
you don't, okay too.
And if you start acting funky, I'm gonna stop calling.
Oh,
End
for
of.
sure.
And I'm not
So
gonna pine for you.
You're not
Mm-mm.
gonna just show up after months, be like, "Hey, how you doing? You got time?" No, I don't. Actually, I absolutely don't.
So yes, I think that is an element of it because in the daydream she did say like I thought you would fight for me,
Yeah.
and that is the element there that he didn't fight for her, because it begins with her trying to catch his attention with that random bland Tinder date. So it's just like, girl, stop. You know you're bored.
my favorite part is when she told him because I guess he was as Jesus and Meryl was saying, he was being all spicy. He was being all spicy on the Tinder messages, and then she got there and he gave her a handshake. Like, I don't know. I thought you would have like grabbed me and whispered like take your panties off or something. And he was like, would you have gone for that?
Like, no, but that's not the point.
Okay, so
Like
real
I
quick,
might maybe could have.
I just thought of this. No, go ahead. Let me look this up before I ask this question. Go ahead. I don't want to embarrass myself.
About Tinder? Like,
No,
she can
God,
answer.
no, 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 no. It's
She can
about
answer.
Boone and Jessica.
About what?
Okay, so
About
I wasn't off. I got the sense that Boone was significantly older than her, and
Oh yeah.
the guy that
yes.
plays Boone is 37.
Oh
So,
yeah. He
Oh
said he's
yeah.
older than her. Oh yes, yes.
hmm
so I didn't
Which
know.
is why when I first saw him, it was this weird thing when I first saw him in the trailer where I was like, oh, of course Chris O'Dowd, because Chris O'Dowd is the cute, funny, not overly cute guy that you get for a rom-com movie. But then I was like, Jessica Williams is like almost half his age and she's black. So very confused by this pairing
Because
here.
I mean, in real life, I guess they're only 9 years apart, which isn't a lot. But if she's supposed to be in her early to mid 20s, and he, honestly, until I looked it up, I thought he was in his early to mid 40s. He's cute, but I thought he was my age. So I'm just like, oh. And it's interesting that they never addressed that, which I don't know that you necessarily have to. A lot of movies try to do it and they just get it all wrong and it's too messagey and preachy.
I thought they were more addressing it in the fact that he is retired and has been married and divorced.
Hmm.
I thought
Hmm.
that was kind of their way of putting it out there. Like, yes, there's a significant age difference here.
Like, in case you
But you
didn't.
know, but the app thing I found interesting is that A, you can develop an app in your 20s and then quote unquote retire. But she wasn't really impressed with him as an app designer. When he said
No.
he created an app, when they were asking about what you do for money, she was just like, oh, and then she just looked completely over it. Like, oh, not none of these hipster app designers, yawn, which
Yeah.
I liked. But one thing, I also think something interesting, just a side note about Chris O'Dowd. Sometimes they mention his being Irish, other times it never comes up in his character like, development. And this is a case that it never came up. He was just like, yeah, I know about London, but anybody can know about London. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just not even a factor.
I assume I assume she figured he knew about London because of the accent. Like, you know about London, right? With your London accent, that's actually Irish.
Right. Like, no, not the same thing at all, but okay.
And
Yeah.
actually, part of the country is trying to like get away from the rest of the country. But thank you for completely.
Right. Completely different country, but okay. But
So
yes.
I know Chris O'Dowd's actual wife in real life is a year older than him.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a
Okay.
year. It's not that.
I'm
Good.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Very good.
Because often with quote unquote celebrities, you see the men tend to be with much younger women.
That's
Hmm.
true.
Hmm.
You know.
I like that. point for Mr. O'Dowd. Yes, yes.
And also her last name used to be Porter, and then when she married him, rather than changing her name to O'Dowd, she changed it to O Porter.
That's cute.
That's it.
Oh, I love it. I like those sorts of things. I like the new last name that people create sometimes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's adorable. Okay, I'm
Oh,
liking these people more.
Any favorite lines?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I love that when she told him he was dope. But I like when the girl's mother was like when she told her, "You're kind of annoying. You're kind of an annoying person, aren't you?" That was cute. I mean, but not more than cute. It was the truth, and it just kind of fed into the honesty of people in the film, but not mean, because there's a difference between being honest and mean, and there was no malice behind it. It was just straight to the point.
I had two, other than the dope line. I had two favorites when they were having that whole conversation about how she pays her rent, and he said, "How do you pay your rent?" She's like, "Oh, I teach, and I do the like odd jobs and da, da, da." And he goes, "Okay, so how do you pay your rent?"
Yes. He's like, seriously, tell me what you do.
As someone who has spent their whole adult life working in the nonprofit sector,
Yes.
that resonated. I was like, yes, how do I pay this expensive Bay Area rent?
You're like, by the skin of my teeth, I just do it.
Exactly. Exactly. And then my other line that I thought was just really cute was when she said she was going home to Ohio and the only thing out there were weirdos. And he says, "Bring me back some weirdos."
That was cute. That's true. I really did like that. Oh, and the one I like, there was one more, and I know it might sound hokey, but to me, I like things like this. This is your one and only life. What do you want to tell people about it? That she told her students
Yeah.
in the class. Because I really, that was real. All the connections that she was making with the students, and because I feel as she was teaching them, she was continuously learning about herself. So there's a lot of dual reflection going on.
I had a moment when she was when he was kind of like, you just have all this confidence and all this kind of stuff, and then she's talking about like all of these things that make her insecure, and I was just like, the title of this movie also could have been Not So Incredible Jessica James,
Mm-hmm.
because it, all of that confidence, all of that bravado was hiding the parts of her life that she really didn't want to share. I
Yes.
love the moment when she opens up, or when she meets the woman she idolizes, and
Sarah Jones.
yeah,
Yes.
and she just like, so like, how do you do this? Like you have everything that I'm aspiring to get to, and like she's like, I still ride the subway.
Right. She's
I
like, what? You
still,
still ride the subway?
yeah.
Yes.
How much do you think playwrights make? It's so true, because I think often we see people who are in the place that we think we want to be. And part of the reason they're there is just because they love to create.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily about the money. Like, obviously, everybody needs a certain level of money to sustain themselves. But I always go back to Sister Act, when she tells Lauren Hill, I'm not remember any character names right now. When she tells Lauren Hill that line, "Letters from a Young Poet," if you when you wake up, the only thing you can think about is writing. The only thing you want to do is writing. Then you're supposed to be a writer. And if when you wake up, the only thing you can think about is singing, and all you want to do is sing, then you're supposed to be a singer.
Mhm.
And I think that really, for all people who are creative, that's the heart of it. And it does feel frustrating when it feels like everybody is getting to that place and you're getting nowhere. Um, there was like another line that she said that I was like, "Ooh, this feels so much like me that it's scary." She said something about not being like just oh, but she says like I love the theater, but I don't always know if it loves me.
Mm.
And I was just like, whoa. Because
Whoa.
I feel that sometimes about my own writing.
I thought, and it's funny because as I was watching it, I did think about you. I thought, oh, I can't wait to hear what Shanna thinks about this because there's some things I think she can relate to that I'm seeing. I'm like, that's Shanna. That's a bit of Shanna there, but Shanna, not like now Shanna, like you know,
Oh
younger
no,
Shanna.
this whole movie was 25, 26-year-old Shanna.
Wow.
It was a little scary how on point it was.
You're like this. You know my life too much. Did you just come and visit? Wait, what?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to pull Jessica Williams aside and be like, look, girl, look.
You don't know my life. You don't know
Stop
my life.
with my business out in these streets, out in these Netflix streets.
Oh my goodness. No. No. That's that. Yeah, and I think that's what's really good is that it has that identifiable part. And it's funny, if we want to talk about Sarah Jones, I have adored Sarah Jones since like 15 years at least, when I used to work in a radio station in my university years. We're talking ages ago, not trying to put my age out there, but I've kept an eye on her and just adored her. And then recently she was on a podcast, no, a YouTube interview with Marie Folio, who I like a lot, who talks about, brand and personal branding and being yourself, etc. And I was just like, oh, there she is again. So to see her pop up in like a number, just 2 weeks or so on this show, I'm like, there she is. But I kind of felt like Jessica with that moment, like Sarah Jones, not only is she phenomenal, she still looks the same way she did 15 years ago, like melanin popping. But hey.
So this is the place where I, even though I am a theater person, have to out myself. I did not know who she was. I didn't know if this was somebody playing somebody. It felt like it was somebody cameo doing a cameo as themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, maybe this is not, and maybe this is just something they made up for the movie. So what has she done?
She did win the Tony. She's really known for her one woman play. What I knew her for was a one woman play where she played all these characters. So she played like men, women, different ethnicities, old, different ages, different ranges. Like just she would just transform. It sort of reminds me. I've been listening to this podcast on Agatha Christie a lot. That Agatha Christie, what's that book? 13 at Dinner. So they have this actress who can just transform herself into all these characters right in front of your face, and that's Sarah Jones. Like you really will think you're looking like an 80-year-old man, and you're looking at a child. Just she changes herself. So she's known for that. That's the one thing I knew her from, and I believe she did some music, and her music, I don't want to say it wasn't with, no, I'm not going to say that, it's not that, but with some hip hop artists or some spoken word albums as well. So
Yeah,
she's
I'm
just
looking at
phenomenal.
her website right now, and it looks like she did stuff at New Eurekan Poets
Yes,
Cafe
that's
and
it. That's it.
one woman shows, and yeah, she just looks really interesting. She reminds me also of Tracy Ellis Ross.
Oh, yeah, exact. That's so true, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's
Doesn't
like
she?
her look as well as kind of her vibe remind
Yes,
me of Tracy Ellis Ross.
exactly. Yeah. So she's done a variety of, different, yeah, worked with different musicians, and it's just that when she came out with that one woman play some years ago, I think it was called Bridge and Tunnel. It just it was amazing. But she's done different things since then. TED Talks, of course, like where she's like, "Watch her TED Talk." But she talked about the sex industry and just a variety of things. Now I also remember her from having things on public radio. I hadn't, how you're really into someone, and then with age and things, you just kind of move on to other things. I hadn't looked into her recently until I said about a couple of weeks ago when she was on this show on YouTube that I tend to watch, and it's like, oh, she's still out there. She's still doing things.
That's amazing. I like when a movie or a TV show introduces you to somebody who's doing something cool in another medium. That's one thing. This is gonna be random as soon as I thought of it. That's one thing I always used to love about the Cosby Show
Yes.
was that it was a show that, while being about this particular Black family, their guest stars and the things they would feature would introduce you to different Black artists, would introduce you to different musicians, to different styles of music. And I just always appreciated that about that show. I don't know if there's many television shows or movies out there doing something similar like that anymore.
I can't think of it. You're right. This is gonna sound really bad, but it was the Cosby Show and it was Malik Yoba's show. Those two shows I remember.
Yes,
They
New
were
York
real.
Undercover.
They were
Yes,
real good.
yes,
Yep, they
yes.
were real good for introducing you to people or connecting you to people that were either established or that were up and coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, showing my age, but yes, that is it.
No, that was exactly that was exactly what I used to love about New York Undercover, outside of the fact that Malik Yoba and Michael De Lorenzo were fine.
Ah, yes.
Fine. But yes, the new artist, definitely. And yeah. So I like the fact that you have this person like Sarah Jones who, has just steadily been doing work, and she is someone that Jessica James and the Jessica Williams, real life Jessica Williams would admire. So to have her cameo on there again added to that bit of authenticity.
Yeah. And I just loved, as someone who loves theater, taught theater, how passionate the character was about that. And it really was about, this is just something I love. And it is what I love. You could tell, like, Jessica could probably talk to you for like 6 hours about theater. But if you asked her something about math, she would have looked at you like crazy. Which is completely and totally accurate. When you are passionate about something, that is the thing that you know.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
it is. It
All right.
is. It is.
So overall, we all seem to really enjoy it. We've completely spoiled the film. I will add a spoiler alert at
are
the
we
beginning of it.
are we
We
rating
have
it?
completely, like, do not listen to this unless you have already watched that movie. If you, for some reason, are listening to our review of it first, now go sit down. Before you move on to the next part, go sit down and watch that movie. It's on Netflix. I think the whole thing is about,
It's
what,
90
90
minutes.
minutes?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Not even. Yeah.
yeah,
like even slightly shorter than 90 minutes now that I think about it.
yeah. So go get your life, because it was great. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Um, And I think I saw Phenom talking about it on his Facebook as well. And he talks about how it was perfectly cast. And it really was.
Yeah.
It was.
Um, so, moving right along, we're going to talk a little. Edra, do you watch Supergirl?
No. So like I think I'm gonna bow out. No, I do not. I refuse to anymore.
Oh, why, baby? Why?
I can't. I just have decided to commit to shows that I am passionate about, and it didn't do anything for me after like early on. So
Oh, so you left season one probably?
mhm,
It got better
mhm.
season two, although it had some trouble, but it got. I sound terrible. I don't sound convincing, do I? I don't sound convincing.
Listen,
I'm not convincing myself.
listen. You know who we know, who I know, as in James, who co did those
Yes.
reviews, not just couldn't.
He
No, I'm
does
kidding.
write the reviews for Project Fandom.
Yes, he does. And
You said it like, and I am forced to sit here and watch the show because he does these
You sound like,
reviews.
you know what? You sound like Sarah, because she swear up and down her husband making her watch that. And if I had a lens in that house, I bet her husband is sleeping. She just watching and faking the funk. She ain't fooling nobody.
no, I refuse. That's me in no, that's me in other shows, but this show, no, unfortunately. It's like The Flash. In The Flash, I cried when I had to give that up, but I had to let that go as well.
Where,
So
did you let
Oh,
that go during season 3?
yes, I did do
it's
season.
okay. Understandable. I
Yeah.
I get it as someone who has dropped but in the past could not drop a show. I
Hmm.
was a complete completionist. But in this golden age of television, it's just too much content. You have to pick and choose.
Hmm.
And if something is not floating your boat, then you do have to let it go. So I completely understand. But do you want to hear about Makad?
Well, you're talking about Makai Pfeiffer?
No, no.
Makad Brooks, who
Brooks.
plays Jimmy.
Oh, now you see, I'm completely out of the. Oh, I forgot about him. I might as well educate myself. Continue. Why not?
So Makad's fine. Anyway, no.
Like, what?
Did you get
No.
another hug this year?
Yeah, okay. So last year, for those who have been following along for the Makai Chronicles, last year at San Diego, I randomly met him in the bar in the hotel. And he actually gave me his contact info. And I have like kind of put out feelers like periodically just to see if he would answer back about like coming on the podcast or whatever. And right before we were going to San Diego, I just shot him an email and I was just like, "Hey, if you're gonna be around for San Diego, is there like a possibility we could do a one-on-one?" And he was like, "Sure, that would be great." Was not even expecting him to respond, so I was like, super excited. We were in the Supergirl press room, um, and after the round tables were ending, I just pulled him aside and I was like, "Hey, can we talk to you on camera?" And shout out to Chris because Chris is now an official whiz at putting up and breaking down our equipment because he had things ready to go. Like when I grabbed Makad, he was like, "We can go anywhere." Like he had everything set up on the tripod and all of that. And so and then we like got over by the backdrop. There was some random white photographer guy that was trying to be like, "She's taking our spot," and da, 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 da. And Macau was like, "Nah, I set this up, bro. Back off." So I got to do a little one-on-one interview with him, and I did ask him about Jimmy's sidelining this past season.
Mm,
So there'll
dish.
be some audio and I'll put up some stuff about that. But basically, in not so many words, he expressed that, he wasn't he wasn't happy. He wasn't excited about that.
Did you let him know we weren't either?
Yeah. Yes. The good thing though, for a little Supergirl scoop for you guys, is that he will have a love interest this season. The love interest is not Kara,
I was gonna say it better not be.
but he will have a love interest this season.
That ship
And
sailed when she came up with that bullshit excuse to break up with him, only to jump into Chris Wood's bed. Which I mean, anyone would jump into Chris Wood's bed. But,
I
but,
was about 3 feet from Chris Woods for about 5 minutes, and I wanted to jump into his bed, so I get it.
oh my
I get,
god!
I understand. But I think this is actually for those of us who are Jimmy fans. I think this is the best thing that could happen to his character. As much as I want to give the CW credit for having more grown up content and all of that, to be honest, if you're on a CW show and you're not in some sort of romantic relationship, your character's just not going to get that much screen time.
And it's kind of sad though that that's the trope. That
Yeah,
is kind of sad that that's the
because
trope.
we got more John when we got Magan.
Hmm.
We
And
got
it's so
more
wait.
when he started dating Lyra.
And the thing about John is we got less John when McGann left.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with Alex. We got more Alex when Maggie showed up. So it's just how those shows work. If you don't have a love interest, you're just not a part of the main plot.
That's a shame, but it's
But
true.
that's the,
It's
but
the
is
CW.
that because you know is that because of their demographic? I mean, let's be honest. They're shooting for 18 to 40. Well, not. I don't even want to say 18 to 49-year-olds. I want to argue maybe 18 to 29-year-olds.
Hmm.
Barely, barely, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's I think it's some good news for those of us who like his character and want to see his character do more than run around in that Guardian suit.
And show up for 2 seconds
Yeah,
during this finale, and the
yeah.
scene so quick that Shanna swore up and down that it didn't happen until I got the screenshot for it.
She had took a screenshot for me to be like, I was like, Jimmy was not in this episode. You're lying.
She didn't believe me.
Yeah.
I just sent her a picture for the episode art. I'm like, look, he's right there.
Also, Jeremy Jordan did say that that final episode ran about 20 minutes long. He said there was a whole arc with him and Lyra that got cut completely.
We didn't need that.
So,
Sorry.
I mean, I'm not saying we needed it, but but you know, people were like, "Is Lyra coming back? Are y'all still together?" And he was like, "Oh no, we addressed that in the finale. It just never aired." So, like, apparently these things, I'm assuming Jimmy had a bigger part in the finale too. That's why we got that 0.5 seconds of him because they just couldn't cut it. It's probably in Makai's contract.
I
Um,
appear in the beginning and in the end.
exactly, exactly. And then the other news that we had coming out of Comic Con is the basic theme of this season. So the upcoming season is going to be a lot about Kara wondering if she can be Kara or if she should just be Supergirl all the time.
Hmm.
Like what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to have humanity? If she should cut that part of herself off. Um, so
It's gonna be interesting to see how they introduce that, and I really hope it's not because I lost the love of my life.
oh no, Monel is totally the impetus behind this.
If
The
you could
fact
see
that
my
Chris
face right
Wood was
now,
in the press room let me know that we haven't seen the last of Monel. Chris
which
Wood
is,
was
I mean, that
in the
part
press
is fine, but don't
room.
do
The thing about
this.
it
Don't do
is,
this.
I also the Monel of it all aside, I think it'll be interesting because I'm assuming we're juxtaposing Kara's humanity or wanting to leave her humanity behind with the new character, Rain, the world killer,
Hmm.
who I'm assuming is somebody who is not going to have a lot of humanity. So that it should be an interesting juxtaposition. And I think if we're focused on that and also we're not focused on Kara's love life,
Hmm.
Jimmy having a new love interest and her not being interested in anybody because of the Monel thing. I just think hopefully it'll be a much more interesting, well-rounded season.
Agreed. I can agree with that.
Also, your girl is gone.
Maggie,
Yes.
fake Latina.
Fake Latina's Dunzo.
I
She
thought they
apparently
wait.
has a new job.
I thought they took her down to recurring. Is she gone? Gone? They're gonna kill her off or send
So
her packing?
she has a new job. So I think they said she's gonna appear in the first 4 or 5 episodes, just wrap that up and give her some place to go. They said she's welcome whenever she wants to come back or is available to come back,
Mm-hmm.
but she's definitely
Done.
exiting out. So prepare also for the
Oh, that's already
LGBTQ
started.
fans.
No, that's already started because they
Yeah.
got when that started when it came out that they were taking her down to recurring.
Hmm.
Like, people were like, well, the LGBT community saved the show. I'm like, oh, sweetie, slow your roll. It was a powerful storyline, but the move to CW saved Supergirl, if we're going to be honest about it.
Yeah. So so we've also just had this issue with Game of Thrones with Yara.
Yeah, and Ilaria.
This whole idea that these LGBT characters are being killed off on purpose or for ratings or all this other stuff. And you guys, I'm maybe I'm jaded, maybe I'm tired. LGBT characters, POC characters, they can't be invincible just because representation is needed.
Hmm.
And let's go here. It's Game of Thrones. Everybody, Ned Stark, Sean Bean got it. They killing kids in season 1. Everybody can get it. They slaughtered a pregnant woman, cut, her husband was betrayed, and his mama's throat was cut all at the dinner table. Anybody can get it. Come on, y'all. Don't do this.
Anybody.
Don't do this.
Anybody.
Yeah. I just I think we just got to be prepared. And also, as we get more representation, you can't be upset if people die because
Es-
people are going to die.
Especially
Right.
if,
It
let's
wasn't.
say, this. Let's say the actor wants to move on to something else and never wants to come back.
Hmm.
You can't make that person stay in a job they don't want to be in.
Mm-mm.
It's also similar. I had the same thing with The Flash. I jokingly asked the Flash cast, how long can the Flash exist without the Flash? I asked Grant that.
Mm.
And Grant's answer was basically, I hope not for long because I want to keep my job. Like,
That's real. That's honest.
you take that question in the spirit of what the question is, asking like, how long can these people exist without the person who is supposed to be the main person of this show? And I really, what I'm finding kind of hard is that I see fans, they do it with the Flash, like, there needs to be more Iris, there needs to be more Iris, there needs to be more Iris. I see it with Supergirl, there needs to be more Jimmy. And it's not that I don't think there can always be more of those characters, but also the show is Supergirl. The
Mm-hmm.
show is The Flash, not Jimmy or Iris.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to balance your expectations. Like, yes, I know that those characters are black characters that we care a lot about, and they are supposed to be the second leads of those shows, but they're not the lead.
Right.
And honestly, when we're talking about television or movies, anybody other than your lead can catch it.
Right. Well, and if you're Joss Whedon, your lead can catch it. I'm just
Exactly. And
True.
sometimes, yes, they're going to catch it, and it's going to be just to move the lead character's story forward because
Mm-hmm.
that's how storytelling works.
But I think the issue people had, and I had it last year, it was just like L after L. It was just a loss of LGBTQ character after just
Yeah.
Hmm.
one show after the other. And that's different than what's, happening with the Yara in different situations. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to separate that. That was nonsense that was going on last year. This now makes sense. This is just a part of regular when we are including more people and having diversity. This is just what's going to happen.
Right.
And
And
I
and then
like
the other
that.
thing of it is too was that I forget who posted in the Project Fandom group that list of deaths. It was over the last, I want to say, over the history of LGBT individuals in entertainment, in TV shows and movies. And some of those deaths, I'm like, oh yeah, they were just killing people because, like, one of the deaths was like, oh, she contracted a brain-eating organism from eating a moldy can of tuna. It was something so random. I'm like, oh, y'all just wanted to kill her off in the worst way possible, and it does look kind of messed up when everybody else on the show. It's not a show where people dying, so it wasn't a True Blood or a Game of Thrones or a Walking Dead. It was some innocuous show that gave this woman the strangest death possible, and she was a lesbian character. It's like, what are you doing?
Shameful. Shameful, right.
Yeah, like some of them definitely, even although I think they took it too far when last year when Lexa died on the 100. I
Mm-hmm.
got why fans were upset about that because it also happened almost immediately after the two characters, Clark and Lexa, finally got together and had sex.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also a trope where lesbian characters in particular will get killed almost right after they consummate their relationships,
Yeah.
which is just weird to me. It's like
Yeah.
you finally had the scary lesbian sex, and now we're gonna kill you off.
It's
So
almost
I get that.
and okay, and this is me being paranoid. People have called me paranoid, and I own I might be slightly paranoid. But how much? I wonder how much of that too might not be off about that. Whereas like, okay, we're gonna push the envelope, but the only way that the audience will really accept it or garner any sympathy or not have this violent backlash is if we immediately kill this person. So we show this moment of intimacy that people are going to have an issue with. But then if we kill her, you can't be mad at us or at her because she just died terribly and horribly.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
like that theory that people, yeah, I get it. I
Which,
can
don't get
make
me
that.
wrong, if that's what they're doing, it's still bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's with the way people die in these, with the way they've been killing off these gay and lesbian characters almost immediately after that consummation, I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, no, and I get that trope. I think that is really, really shameful.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole, because it feels, and this was the issue with it. It feels like punishment.
It's
It
absolutely
feels like
punishment.
punishment for having the lesbian sex.
It's absolutely punishment for having the lesbian and the gay sex. Because I think they did it with some gay male characters, didn't they?
Hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
ones that they even allow to kiss, much less have sex.
Exactly. I think, yeah, I think it happens less with the gay male characters just because they are so off. It's so rare that they get to have the sex.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to punish them for it because they don't have the sex.
Why do we keep calling it the sex? I'm a child.
It needs an article in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Capital T, capital S, the sex. We're also very immature. That's why. No, but I'm actually talking to the showrunners, one of whom is a woman, which I don't think I knew that. Talking to the showrunners,
Yeah, Adler, right?
yeah, I definitely felt like, and I heard this coming out of the Flash room as well. I feel like the season's a little bit more well planned. I feel like they understand that the fans feel like they're playing fast and loose and they don't have things planned out, and I feel like that's a shift that a lot of the writers are doing this season. And I think it's also possibly because Arrow had such a tight season. That season felt like it was really planned out from the beginning, except for like maybe one or two little things. So I think that's part of it. Legends has been like very tightly planned
Oh,
out.
Asia, do you watch Legends at all?
No, I do not.
Oh my God. Okay, so I know that you're cultivating content, and I know season one with WW was like probably painful if you watched it, but skip
Hmm.
it and watch season two. It got so good.
That's what
Yeah.
everyone said.
Oh
And I
my
said, okay, it's
God, it was
on
so
the
good.
list. It's on the
Yeah.
list.
And it was just tighter. There were less episodes. So yeah, I just think everybody is realizing when it comes to CWTV, and then you have Black Nightling coming mid season. I think
Yeah, I
everybody's
did hear
realizing
that.
this is not the time to rest on your laurels.
Mm-hmm.
There's Fox, and between Fox and Freeform and Netflix, all of the shows, all of the superhero mutiny comic book related stuff is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It was kind of ridiculous. If
I'm
you
kind of
were at
glad.
San Diego, everywhere you went, it was like this new show coming this fall, like Inhumans, like everything. It was so many new shows that they were out there promoting. For Gifted, they actually had these really cute billboards that were they looked like real billboards
Mm-hmm.
that were inviting you to come get tested to see if you had the mutant gene,
Oh.
but they look like regular billboards that you would see for any kind of medical campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's important. Do you have the gene? Come get tested.
Wow.
No, no.
Was
And
Amy
my friend
there?
who does not know anything about this show or anything, she was kind of like, what are these billboards about? Why do I need to be tested? Very confused.
Was Amy Acker there? Because I know she's in The Gifted.
She was there for The Gifted, which Chris did that press room, so he would know better if she was in the press room. I know she was also there because they did a Buffy thing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I know that her and Claire Kramer were there as well.
Because I was so excited to see her in that promo for The Gifted because I loved her. I love everything Amy's ever done. She's just great and she's versatile. And I know, obviously, Person of Interest was over, but she was so good in that. And I was like, I hope she gets on again somewhere because she just needs to keep acting
That
until she decides she's done. But she just needs to keep acting.
she's amazing, and I think people forgot about her guest star ring thing on Agents of Shield, and I just
Yeah.
loved her on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
She was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Now that's my speed. Agents of
Yeah.
Shield.
We're me and Baby Boy are on season 3. Yeah, he's like every night. He's like, "Can we get in 4 tonight?" I'm like, "Okay, we will work on getting in 4 episodes tonight."
That's so cute. Yeah, so I'm actually really excited for this new season of Supergirl, but you guys know us. We get excited every year. We're
We
like,
do.
they're gonna do better. We have faith in them.
Look, I need a female-led
Okay.
superhero show to succeed. I need it to.
I feel the same way. There's a lot worse out there.
Okay, let me correct that. I need a female superhero show outside of Marvel because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is technically a superhero show and it's female led, but I'm not
Yeah.
worried about Marvel. Marvel got this, so I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, honestly, given that DC is still struggling with their cinematic universe, I really want them to have all the wins when it comes to television.
Yeah,
I
which
do.
means, but that means, like they said, they got to get their crap together in the writing room and
Yeah,
plan. Get that Whedon
really can.
model. He planned that first 5 years of Buffy, and people didn't see it coming. And when it hit, they were like, "Whoa!"
Or even just the Shonda Rhimes method. Like Shonda has
Mm.
said, whenever she starts a season, she knows what that final scene of that season is gonna be,
Mm. Oh, and she works her way backwards then.
and she works her way backwards.
I believe it. I
Nice.
believe it.
Like get that together. Let's start there, and then we can work our. And also, I mean, people can call you a copycat if you want, but that Agents of Shield model that they did this season with the 3 different story arcs, but
Come
all the
on.
story arcs linked together. So it was
Yes.
it was one of those things where it's 3 different arcs, but if you got to arc 3 and you hadn't paid attention in arc 1,
You
you
would.
were going to be confused because they were that tightly connected.
And honestly, on watching season 3 right now, they actually started it that season. It wasn't as blatant and, because with this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they changed the logo with each arc and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But even with season 3, it was 3 separate arcs. It just wasn't advertised as much as 3 separate arcs.
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, like, don't be afraid of being called a copycat. Do what works.
Don't
Like,
hey, don't reinvent the wheel.
I'm saying, that's what I always go back to. Why are we starting from scratch when the model is there? It has been put forth.
Go forth
Just
and
follow that.
go forth and conquer.
Yes. So we will have out some of our roundtable footage from Supergirl, as well as some stuff, our one-on-one with Makad. That's gonna go up on the site. Myself and Chris are like diligently writing to get stuff out to you guys. Also, there were some shows that I covered for Project Fandom, so also check out the Project Fandom site for their San Diego coverage because I covered some different shows for them as well. So yeah, it was another really, really successful San Diego. Maybe next year we'll have some more people joining us, Doctor.
I can make
Yeah,
it next year. My
doctor.
son won't be like 4 hours away. So, like, if he hadn't been 4 hours away, I would have asked Chris if you guys could use some backup and came with you. But with him being so far away, I couldn't risk something happening and me being all the way on the other coast.
No, I understand
So,
that. But hopefully next year we can get you out there. We were talking about some other different models. I won't go into all this inside baseball stuff, but I honestly think by next year, MTR, we will be bringing you the best coverage from San Diego. So I need y'all to stop following Marvel, stop following DC, stop following Entertainment Weekly, and start following us.
well, I mean, you can follow Marvel and DC, but stop Hollywood Reporter, stop Screen Rant, stop comicbook.com. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Y'all stop with these folks putting out these fan theories like it's actually going to happen and talk to the
Right.
people that's talking to the people.
Mm-hmm.
I said it. I ain't sorry. I hope I don't get us in trouble.
All right. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. Please check out Ejiro's written review of Incredible Jessica James, which will be going up on Project Fandom. Check out all of our San Diego coverage. I believe it's just mtrnetwork.net/Comic-Con. If you just go to that link, it'll take you directly to all of our Comic-Con coverage. We will, I guess, just be doing this kind of whatever strikes our fancy
Well, we hope to bring you.
reviews and
Oh,
recaps.
I was gonna say we hope to bring you next week or in a week or two a review. A Black woman's review of Girls Trip. Just saying.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll definitely be talking about Girls Trip. We'll be gathering all the Dora Milaje to talk about that.
Yes. Yes. Countdown to Black Panther.
I was in the room for the Black Panther presentation in Hall H,
Hmm.
and it's so funny. Everyone was like, I heard everyone was standing and clapping, and there was a standing ovation, and da da da, and all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't know because I was too busy staring at the screen, screaming and clapping myself. I don't know what else was happening in that room. I just saw the cast partying on stage. I was staring at the screen. I was so happy. I don't know about anybody else in that room.
Oh,
So,
and don't forget too. Phenom was there taking photos, and those are at Strange Cool World. Is his website?
yes, Strange Cool World. Please check out his photos, retweet them, tweet at the celebrities. I know he doesn't.
But even though
I,
he
I will
doesn't, they.
directly tag the celebrity that he took the picture
I was
of.
gonna say even though he doesn't, they found him because a couple of them made some of his photos their profile photos on some of the social media and stuff, and was
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely check out his photos. His photos are honestly amazing. The quality. He also, if you see him actually there, everyone's like all like smushed in the press pit and everything, and he will just walk out of the press pit, walk around, take like you think he's taking like two quick photos, and he'll have like 20 amazing photos on his camera that nobody else caught the moment. He catches all the right moments
Hmm.
and they're all amazing. He just walked himself right into the defenders photo room. Got all pictures of all the defenders. He's just amazing. I don't know how he does it. There was another time when we were in a different press room and we were like, we should text him to get in here and do the photo line. Turned around, he was already in the room. For a not small man, he is incredibly stealth. I don't know how he does it. And we'll get all the right shots and then just casually be like, okay, I'm out.
Batman smoke pellet out of the room.
Every single time. Every single time. It's so frustrating.
Or amazing, take your pick.
So yeah, you gotta check out his photos. They're all and he's been putting them out. a few each day, different from the different press rooms that we were in. They're all amazing. There was a couple of panels or press rooms that he couldn't do, and he was so disappointed. So was I, which is why we need more people there, because at one point I had to go into the preacher's room, and Defenders was happening at the same time, and we had to split up. And obviously, I wanted to be able to do both, but I'm just one person, and everything felt like Sophie's choice. It just could not be in two places at one time.
But you got
Uh,
that Mike Coulter photo.
Oh,
it
envious.
did. And then I saw him in Girls Trip. I was like, this chocolate mofo. There he is right there. But that is a story for another time, because I have a whole Girls Trip experience we're going to talk about.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
so hopefully that'll happen soon. Thank you guys for listening. Love you all. Thanks for rocking with us.
Bye.
Bye.